Good afternoon, wrestling fans. Big D here, covering for my partner in crime, Mr. Michael D'Angelo. A little under the weather. Hope he feels better. Wishing him a speedy recovery. Got a great one for you today. The Saturday night's main event, which told a lot of stories, but really set the tone for the Royal Rumble next week. So let's go ahead and just dive into it high level for you guys, as we love to do here. First match was Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. That match ended before it even started. The bell didn't even ring. Jacob Fatu came out looking like a monster, just beating on Cody. They almost didn't want to let Cody start the match because they were kicking Jacob out. And then they just brawled all over the arena in Montreal. By the way, that crowd was hot. They had brawls all up and down everywhere throughout the arena. It actually never started. It was all chaos. But at the end of the day, Drew McIntyre put both of them through tables and stood tall just because he decided to interrupt the match. What that means, what that means actually is it means that this feud is definitely not over. And I'll touch more on that here in my Rumble predictions as well. But yeah, so that match ended in a no contest, and the feud shall continue while Drew McIntyre stands tall and strong before ahead of his championship defense match next week. After that, we had what was my personal match of the night: AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. We saw it in New Japan. We're seeing it again now. AJ Styles came out with the mask. Lots of little hints. Little Bullet Club shot fired. Shinsuke catches the bullet. Heart. All the feels. Montreal treated this like a big farewell to AJ Styles, and it kind of almost felt like that. It was an emotional match. It was really just a lot of back and forth, hard hitting, fantastic wrestling. There's no commentary I can give on this match that will give it or do its due justice. Honestly, it was such a great match. Go back and watch it. It was phenomenal. No pun intended. AJ and Shinsuke were magic together. Lots of great moments there. One of the biggest things to kind of note is this was kind of just like the crowd giving AJ his flowers at the end of it. They both stood tall. They did the fist bump at the end, which was similar exactly like they did it in New Japan when they fought in their amazing match. It kind of gave you the feels because it feels like this was like a goodbye. It felt like this was AJ's last match there, and the crowd was obviously super into it. They got a standing ovation, but it kind of makes you wonder now, is this going to be the beginning of the end somewhere, or is it just the actual end itself? And I'm worried that it might be the end after seeing this, because he has Gunther next week, and they kept talking about how AJ could beat Gunther, but he learned his lessons. But I don't know. It's tough to predict just because of the fact that there's different options for AJ Styles on how he can end his career. And again, I'll touch on that here. Let's just get through this card real quick. Here we had the women's tag team titles. We had Rhea Ripley versus and Io Sky defending against Judgment Day, which is Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. We did have shenanigans from Raquel. She came out to interfere, but surprise, surprise, Stephanie Vaquer comes right on out without her boot, which is a big moment because she's not injured, which is great because now we're going to have that super feud between Raquel and Stephanie Vaquer, which I think will spill into the Royal Rumble, probably even WrestleMania. I think that'll be a great WrestleMania match. But yeah, you're gonna have you had a little bit of bumpery here. Actually, I guess not even a word, but hey, I'm gonna call it that just because it was a little clunky in the beginning between Rio and Ia. I'm sorry, Io and Rhea. We might as well just call him Rio. And so there's a little bit they won because obviously Stephanie Raquel did kind of come in and save the day from Raquel, but she really just focused on Raquel. But this is just their power stance now. But I feel I still stand by my words that there's going to be an implosion later on between the two because they're two top stars, they're two top individual stars. And so whenever you put two top solo stars in with the tag team, more than likely it's going to end in the feud. And I'm thinking that's going to be Rhea versus Io at Mania. I feel they will drop their titles before Mania, but I don't see the vibe going that long. I think it's going to end soon, and it's going to be some sort of implosion, and we're going to have Rhea versus Io in a banger of a match at WrestleMania. But of course, Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez is going to be a great power feud going forward. I'm excited to see it. I'm glad they're putting Raquel up on that main event status. She does deserve it. She's a great worker. She's also a great talent overall. So I'm excited to see that as well. And the women's tag titles, unfortunately, are just going to be kind of the way that we get to everything. So We'll see how that goes. Again, Rhea and Io dominant but unstable. The Raquel return is not random by any means, but Raquel is still looming. So those are the main takeaways from that match. After that, we had our main event for the evening, which was the Fatal 4-Way between Randy Orton, Damian Priest, Trick Williams, and Sami Zayn. Of course, the Montreal crowd basically carried Sami Zayn towards this victory. Sami Zayn was victorious. He did win. It was an emotional payoff for him, as they love to do with Sami Zayn. We've talked about this before on the show. They love putting him over in moments where he's just the biggest underdog. We saw this with him versus Gunther in the Intercontinental title match. Again, Sami, he's always the story for somebody, but I feel like he's never the ending for it. So I don't see him winning against Drew McIntyre. I see this is just more like near falls and heartbreak for Sami, which will lead to a longer redemption arc, or we might get like a darker side of Sami out of frustration. I think it may be the former. I think we're going to get a longer redemption arc for Sami, just because underdogs in WWE, they usually win a lot later and not recently, so not now. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. They have a history of giving him these title shots with no wins, and it sucks for Sami, but at the same time, that's just the way it happens. So I think this is going to be an emotional match for Sami Zayn. But again, that Montreal crowd, they popped huge for him throughout the match, before the match. Hometown hero returned there, and, he got the win. Well deserved. Personally, I feel like we could have probably had somebody else win that. I mean, if we're going to just feed them to Drew, I would have much rather have seen like a Damian Priest, because they have history together, or even Trick Williams. Let him kind of get that shot. But of course, we know Trick and Randy Orton are going to have their feud coming up, so that's going to happen too. So I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. Onto the Rumble, lots of rumors and rumblings going on here. I heard Jacob Fatu may be getting a big push, explained by the protection and how he's booked. He's booking him as a monster heel. I think he's still going to be a heel because obviously Cody's the face, but look how he won. He didn't lose clean. Obviously, there was no match to lose. And he looks great now. He's in great shape. He looks very, very athletic, and he's always been super duper agile and athletic. But I think he's been getting a lot of big spots. I feel he'll go deep in the Rumble, possibly Final Four, but I don't see him winning just yet. But I see him being that thorn in Cody's side. Another rumor is AJ Styles. Again, he's leaning into these career match narratives. I'm a little worried about it. AJ versus Gunther. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like AJ may actually lose this match and end his career with WWE. But I don't think his wrestling career is over, because I feel he's going to finish his career and do his retirement tour through TNA. I feel that would make the most sense, because that's where he started, and that's where he got his start, in the US, I should say, because obviously he was in Japan. But I feel like this is where we're going to see it. I feel he's going to lose to Gunther, and I'm going to be so sad when that happens, because I love AJ Styles, but he's going to transition over to TNA. And I think that's where he's going to have his retirement tour. So quote me on that if you want. We'll see what happens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me know. I'm sure you will in the comments. Of course, like I said, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Drew's going to win. For the Rumble itself, I'm still standing firm that Braun Breaker is going to win this thing. I had a little clip, a little section of our last show where I talked about Braun Breaker coming in either at number 28 or number 30 as a surprise, because he's suspended indefinitely. But of course, Paul Heyman laying the seeds there of like, hey, you might want to answer that call because you touched my client first, blah, blah, blah. So again, don't be surprised if you see Braun Breaker come in at 28 or 30 and getting the victory. I feel he will. I feel he'll get that, and I feel he'll be the one to dethrone CM Punk at Mania. So that's what I think is going to happen. I'm confident in that. Again, I just feel like that's what's going to happen. You're also going to still have Jacob Fatu up in there for the final four, I would say. Maybe Carmelo Hayes, maybe Trick Williams. But I do feel that Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes are probably going to end up eliminating each other. And that may turn into a big brawl, pull apart brawl that kind of gives everyone a rest spot in the Rumble, that eventually has them going at each other at Elimination Chamber. I think that would be a great way for them to have another feud give them more time to book this story and just have that feud, that Cody get darker and grimier. And who knows, maybe we'll see that Homelander version of Cody that he's been teasing. But I'd be excited for that. Let me know what you guys think. For the Women's Rumble, I'm torn. I feel like we might have Becky Lynch win this one, or we might have Rhea win this one. That's how you're going to sow the seeds of deceit. I don't know if Rhea will win. I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of stumped on the women's one, because Let me know who you guys think will win, because I'm kind of leaning towards Rhea right now. She's just too over. I feel that's a safe bet. I don't have an edgier prediction for you guys today, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel that Rhea, she should be in the main event picture. I just don't think that the tag titles are going to do her justice. So I feel like she's going to be going deep into the Rumble. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Excuse me. After that, we're going to have Gunther versus AJ Styles. Obviously, I touched on that. I feel like this is going to be AJ Styles' match to lose and move over to TNA. As much as I don't want to see it, I feel that's what's going to happen. So, but yeah, Montreal was definitely not a pit stop. That was a significant show. If you missed it, go back and watch it. It was a great show. I enjoyed it. It was a good watch from beginning to end. Match of the night, definitely go back and rewatch AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I thought that was so awesome. I thought it was great. It was definitely a message. So WWE went into one of the loudest, most emotional cities in the business 1 week before Rumble and said, let's see who survives. And Sammy survived. Truth be told, he survived. It was such a good show. I enjoyed it. So yeah, go back and watch it. Sami Zayn won the 4-way, building and the building nearly just erupted. Obviously, AJ Styles Shinsuke reminded us, of course, that wrestling can still catch you in the feels. You had a lot of great emotional moments there. Rhea and Io kept their gold but planted seeds of chaos. Cody and Jacob didn't even finish their match, but they're gonna pile into a feud. This show really wasn't about the wins and the losses. Obviously, it was more about positioning, specifically for the Rumble, long-term booking, who's trusted, who's protected, and who's going to walk into the Rumble with a target on their back. And of course, I've been watching wrestling pretty much my whole life, and it's long enough to know that when a show just is entertainment, which is usually like your weekly shows, and when it's a chess move. And Montreal, in my opinion, this Saturday Night Main Event, this was definitely a chess move for many of the players involved. So today broke down what mattered, what didn't, and what this tells us about where WWE is going next week into the Rumble. So again, if you're rooting for the good guys, I'm sorry, but you may be a little bit disappointed, because nobody left Montreal safe. Although Sami Zayn left with hope, Drew left standing over with chaos. Rio left holding the titles, but they did have some tension. And again, I don't know. It's going to be a very fun next week. We're going to have the go home shows for Raw and SmackDown, and we're going to see a lot of these stories kind of either come to a halt or come to a start, just to see how this is going to pan out for the Rumble. I think the Rumble card is going to be stacked. Obviously, I'm excited for the surprise entrance. Let me know who you feel is going to be a surprise entrant. I feel Chris Jericho. I heard he's coming back, so I think that's going to be a beautiful surprise entrant. Again, WrestleMania season, fun time to be alive, and fun time to be a wrestling fan. Too bad the show's in Saudi. I hate that it's there because it's harder for folks to go check it out. But again, that means it should be a fire show. I'm excited for it. And let me know what y'all think. And again, that was pretty much it in a nutshell. Definitely not as polished as my co-part, Michael D'Angelo. But again, wish him back well. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff that we do. Argue with us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel we're getting right, what we're getting wrong. Obviously, I don't work for WWE in any way, shape, or form. If I did, I wouldn't be here. I'd actually be on the road. I'd be on my way to Saudi. So again, thank you guys so much. My name has been Big D, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much, and goodbye.